You're a federal agent with a clean record, a quiet apartment, and a case that's gone cold for 2 years. The cartel you've been tracking has no leaks, no witnesses, and no mercy. Your supervisor drops a folder on your desk. Inside is a name, your name, which with a job offer from the Sinaloa-linked network you've been hunting. They reached out to you first. Someone inside the bureau tipped them off that you speak Spanish, you grew up poor, and you've got gambling debts they already know the exact number of. Your supervisor leans forward. You say no, we reassign you to paperwork in Tulsa. You say yes, you go in alone. No backup team, no wire in the first 60 days, no way out unless you complete the mission. You sit with that for exactly 4 seconds. Then you say yes. 48 hours later, you're sitting across from a man who has ordered more deaths than you've made arrests. He slides a phone across the table. Your first contact is already saved. You pick it up. Your old life ends the second your fingers close around it. Now you're not an agent playing a criminal. You're a criminal the agency is betting on. And somewhere in this room, someone is already deciding whether to trust you or bury you. Your cover name is Marco. Marco has a history, a family story, a reason to be angry at the government. All of it built by analysts who've never spent a night in a place like this. Rule 1, you never break character, not even alone, not even in your sleep. The cost of forgetting that rule isn't prison. It's a shallow grave outside a city that won't remember you existed. The first choice comes faster than you expected. They ask you to prove loyalty before they tell you anything useful. The job is simple on the surface. Drive a car from one address to another, ask nothing, say nothing. You don't know what's in the car. You don't want to know, but you do it because this is day 3. And you need them to trust Marco before Marco can do anything that matters. You park the car, you walk away. That night you file a report using a method so indirect, it takes the agency 40 hours to decode it. By then, the car is long gone and the window to intercept it has closed. Your supervisor's message back is 3 words. Don't miss again. You want to explain that you weren't ready, that you needed more time. But Marco doesn't get to explain himself. Marco just performs. So that's what you do. Week 2, you meet the second tier. These aren't street-level guys with tattoos and attitude. These are men in pressed shirts who talk about logistics the way bankers talk about portfolios. One of them, a man they call El Contador, shakes your hand and holds it a half second too long. "I've heard about you," he says. You don't know if that's good. You smile anyway. "Good things, I hope." He doesn't answer. He just moves on. That night, you can't sleep, running every interaction through your head, checking for cracks in your performance. There are 3. You file them in your memory and promise yourself you'll patch them before morning. By week 4, they give you responsibility. Not the important kind. You're not moving money or making calls yet. You're managing people. Low-level workers who answer to you now, men with families, men who think you're one of them. You watch how they look at you and it turns your stomach in a way you didn't prepare for. They trust Marco completely. That trust is the most dangerous thing in the room. Month 2, the wire goes in. A piece of tech so small it disappears inside a jacket lining. Now every conversation you have is being recorded by people 2,000 miles away in a building with fluorescent lights and bad coffee. You feel it every second. El Contador invites you to dinner with 4 other men whose names alone would collapse 2 federal investigations. You sit down, you eat. You talk about nothing that matters for 45 minutes. Then someone says a name, one name, and the table goes quiet in a way that tells you everything. You file that name the next morning. The agency comes back in 6 hours. That name is connected to an active operation. Do not engage. Do not pursue. Stand down. Stand down. You're sitting at the table with the target and they want you to stand down. You do it, but it costs you something you don't have a word for yet. Month 3, someone in the network gets arrested. Not by your intel, a completely separate bust. Wrong place, wrong time. But it sends a shockwave through everyone around you. Suddenly there are questions. Who knew what? Who talked to who? Who has been seen where? You feel the suspicion like a change in air pressure. El Contador pulls you aside after a meeting. "You've been quiet," he says. "Careful," you tell him. "Careful means something went wrong," he says. "Careful means I'm smart," you say back. He stares at you for a long moment. Then he nods once and walks away. You exhale for the first time in 4 hours. Month 4. They bring you into the room where real decisions get made. Names, routes, schedules, amounts. Nothing specific enough to burn anyone yet, but enough to see the shape of the whole operation. You absorb everything. You file nothing immediately because you know they watch timing. If you report too fast after a meeting, someone will notice the pattern. So you wait 48 hours. Then you write the most valuable report you've ever submitted. The agency confirms receipt. No praise, just continue. Then comes the night everything shifts. One of your men, a guy named Thomas, 23 years old, 2 kids, makes a mistake. He skims a small amount from a delivery, thinking no one tracks that closely. They track everything. El Contador brings you the information personally. "He's yours," he says. "Handle it." You understand what handle it means. You stand there for a moment that feels like falling. "I'll deal with it," you tell him. You find Thomas. You tell him to run. Tonight, take his family, disappear, tell no one. You tell him someone already knows, and he has maybe 6 hours. He looks at you like you're saving his life because you are. You go back to El Contador and say it's handled. He doesn't ask for confirmation. He either trusts you or he's already checking. You won't know which for weeks. Month 5, the agency wants a name, a specific name, a high-value target they've been building toward for 3 years. You're close enough to get it. But getting it means taking a step inside the operation that you can't step back from. It means doing something that Marco would do, something an agent shouldn't. You make the call on your own. No authorization, no backup, no safety net. You get the name. You send it up the chain. 2 days later, that person is arrested in another country on charges that have nothing to do with you. The network shakes again. Now the questions are louder. Now the suspicion has a direction. And that direction keeps circling back toward anyone who was in the room, including you. Month 6, El Contador invites you to a meeting that isn't on any schedule you've seen. Just you, him, and 2 men you don't recognize. You go, because not going is worse than going. He asks you about a specific date 3 months ago. You give him the version Marco would give. He nods slowly. He writes something down. You don't know what he wrote. You won't know for a long time. You leave that meeting and walk 4 blocks before your hands stop shaking. The agency tells you the operation is close. Weeks, maybe days. They want you to stay in position until the final signal. But the network is moving faster than the agency's timeline. People are being relocated. Documents are being destroyed. The window is closing from both ends simultaneously, and you're standing exactly in the middle of it. The agency tells you the operation is close. Weeks, maybe days. They want you to stay in position until the final signal, but the network is moving faster than the agency's timeline. People are being relocated. Documents are being destroyed. The window is closing from both ends simultaneously, and you're standing exactly in the middle of it. You've been Marco for 7 months now. You've filed more intelligence than most agents collect in a career. You've also crossed lines you told yourself you wouldn't cross. You've watched things happen that you could have stopped and didn't, because stopping them would have burned everything. You've told men to run and told other men lies that kept them in place. You don't know anymore which version of yourself makes the decisions. The final signal comes on a Tuesday morning. A single word in a message you weren't expecting. You read it twice. Then you do what you've been trained to do. The operation moves. Arrests happen in 4 countries over 36 hours. You're extracted before dawn. Clean car, clean clothes, different name on the paperwork. You sit in a debriefing room for 11 hours. They tell you the operation was a success. You nod. They ask if you're okay. You say yes. That's the first lie you've told in American English in 7 months. And somehow it feels like the hardest one. The case closes. Your name goes into a file that will be classified for 25 years. Thomas is somewhere you'll never find him, which means he made it. El Contador is in custody. The network is fractured but not dead. It never dies, it just reorganizes. And you're back in a quiet apartment with a clean record and a case that's officially closed. But Marco is still in there somewhere. You feel him every time someone asks you a question you don't want to answer. Every time you catch yourself calculating trust before you give it. Every time you sit in a room and find all the exits before you sit down. You survived. But you came back as someone slightly different from the person who left. And no debriefing covers what to do about that. Subscribe for more stories like this.